All right, it's time. So welcome everybody, it's Chuck Vosburgh here, and I'd like to show you how I earned a great living as a photographer. I started off very early on, and there was a lot of things I didn't know. So I'm going to kind of fill you in on what I learned over 30 years as a professional photographer, and more importantly, what I learned as a professional salesman. So let's get started. So if you're like most professional people, I know I tried everything. It was just so frustrating. I was working really hard. I was busting my butt, not getting ahead. I tried what all the experts said. I tried raising my prices. I tried lowering my prices, and I worked for free. I did it all, but nothing seemed to work. And let me just check here on the other screen, make sure everything's looking good. Okay, good. And I got to tell you, if you're like that, where you're busting your butt and you're not getting ahead the same way I was for so long, it's not your fault. It's not your level of talent. It's not your intelligence. And I got to tell you, the people that you admire, all the famous people, they are no smarter than you are. And I can prove it because I've met a lot of them. The difference between them and you is one thing: they acted, they did something. And specifically, they put together a system that works for them, and they learn the skills to make that system pay. The good news is the skills are minimal, and you have more than enough time to do it. So you've probably heard all the things. Oh, you must have a really nice camera, as if that's what makes your work so great. Not anything to do with the hard work that you put into it. A lot of people think they can do great photos themselves, and that's okay. They're not the enemy. The concept of good enough is our enemy. All you need to do is show people that what you're going to do suits them better than what they could do themselves. A lot of times, like for me, it's about their legacy. What are their grandchildren going to see? Or in the case of commercial photography, how is their stuff going to be any better than the competition if they're doing it themselves? So these are some things that we have to fight against. It's not the people that think they can do it themselves that are the problem. It's the idea that they can do it themselves, and that there's really no difference between what they do and what we do. And most photographers also think that the inexperienced photographers that work for cheap or for free are the problem. And they're not. You hear it all the time. People are always complaining about, oh, these people are ruining the industry. Listen, I've been in the photography business for over 30 years. There have always been people who would work for cheap, even before digital, and they are not the problem. They're only hurting themselves, really. They're not the real enemy. The idea that their work is good enough is the enemy. So do you see a pattern here? It's an idea that we're fighting here. It's not other people. So you get, all these rock star, like webinar and, seminar people, and, they all tell you, it's like, okay, I figured out the secret, and all you have to do is, buy my system, and you're going to do it exactly the way I tell you, and you're going to get the same results. And they've got a lot of good motivational quotes, and you're going to feel all fired up for a short time. But the problem with that is that if you take their system of what they do with their so-called tricks, it's not going to work for you, because your business is different than theirs. Your clients are different than theirs. And what they're doing is just taking what they do and trying to apply it to somebody else. And it just doesn't work. And I don't know if you noticed or not, but it seems like all of them are just kind of repeating the same stuff and repeating each other. And I don't know of any of them that have got any real professional sales training. And for me, that's what the missing ingredient was. So they'll tell you, raise your prices and think positive. Use certain words or use this trick or that trick. They don't work. Here's the secret. the secret is that there's no secret. You see, sales isn't tips and techniques and, you know, say these exact words or this or that. Listen, I've got a library full of books on the subject. Everybody's got a trick. But what I've learned after all these years is that there's no trick. But you have to help them get to what they need. And people can't just tell you what they need because they don't really know either. They need us to help them discover this. And you know, that's why they either do it themselves or they choose somebody cheap, because they don't really know what they need. And on the subject of sales, I don't know about you guys, but I was raised where, you know, the salesmen were the scum of the earth. They were horrible. And it wasn't until I met a professional salesperson that I began to understand that the stereotype of a salesman is not a salesman. A salesman is somebody that helps people get what they need. You ever hear the saying, oh, you know, she could sell ice to an Eskimo. Well, that's not selling, that's fraud. Selling something to somebody that they don't need, that's dishonest, and that's not what you want to do. That's not what this is all about. You know, see, status is the most powerful of the selling propositions. You've been led to believe that all these top photographers have these rock star lifestyles. They just sit back and phone rings, people just beg them to come and do photography for them. Well, I'm here to tell you that does not happen. Even Annie Leibovitz works hard. She gets up every morning and works hard. They have to go to work every day and they have to have a plan. They work hard, they earn good money because they're doing their best to work that plan, and they're doing it every day. If you get up every day and you do something that's moving you closer to your goal, you can't help but get there. And there's enough time to do that and still have a balanced life too. I know, because I've had a balanced life for the most part. You know, it kind of has its ups and downs, of course, but it's been pretty balanced. And I know a lot of other people who earn a great living and they have a nice balanced life as well. So here's me in 1992. I had a wall full of awards. I had all this education, and I couldn't understand why people who were less talented than me were getting all the jobs. I mean, it's like nobody had any respect for good work. Then Tom, a friend of mine, who is a professional salesman, not the stereotype kind, well, he sat me down. But before, let me tell you what Tom was like. He was a top salesman. He made tons of money. And here's what Tom was like. I worked in an advertising agency at the time when I met this guy. And somebody's light bulb had burned out above their desk. And they were going around like, hey, you know, does anybody know where light bulbs are? You know, my light bulb burned out. So we didn't have any light bulbs in the office. Well, about an hour later, the light bulb was fixed. This guy, Tom, heard her. He left, went and bought a light bulb, put it in there, and he took care of it. He saw there was a problem, he took care of it. It wasn't his job. He doesn't get paid for doing that, but he saw a problem, he fixed it. And he was the one that taught me what being a professional salesperson is all about. He showed me how he did it, and he explained it to me, and he got me to read a book. And if you'd get nothing else out of everything I'm going to tell you this evening, get the book, How to Make Friends and Influence People. I got to tell you, I read the book way back then when Tom recommended it. It didn't make as good a sense to me then as it does now, but it was wonderful. A friend of mine invited me to go to Toastmasters to help overcome my shyness. One of my mentors showed me how he did things. A lot of others did too. It's just that my way wasn't working. So I listened, I took the advice. My life and my career, it started to turn around. I went from barely making my rent to earning a good living. But that was only the start. So my goal today is to help two kinds of people. For people who are starting off, you're going to get an overview of what made me successful and how to translate that into what you're doing with whatever kind of business it is that you're building. And for the experienced people, I want to give you some of the missing pieces that will help you get to where you really want to be. So if you own a new business, whether it's part-time or full-time, you're going to learn how to build a reliable business and not be a statistic. Because I'm sure you've heard that most businesses fail, and that's true, but mine didn't, and if I can do it, you can do it. If you own an established business, you're going to get some actionable steps to help you greatly increase your business. The only way to build a reliable, profitable, creative business is to have a plan and have the skills to implement it. That's the only way. The only way to build a nice, consistent, creative business that's profitable is to be consistent and efficient every single day. The only way to be successful in a creative business is to have a system that works and the skills to work it. It's just that easy. Now, here's some of my work. I've had a lot of good fortune. Of course, I've got the educational stuff. So I'm a certified professional photographer. I'm an Adobe certified expert, Adobe business partner, and the list goes on and on. I've gotten lots of awards. I've been super fortunate. But the thing that's the most fortunate of them all is that I actually earned a living as a photographer for a very long time. And I went from starting off barely making it and just not even could hardly pay my rent every month to earning over $100,000 a year pretty consistently. And knowing what I know now, if I was just doing photography only full-time right now, I could probably triple that knowing what I know now. So I was taught that if you work hard, you would make it, and that you have to work hard to make it. But I was working 12 hours a day and I still wasn't getting anywhere. I thought I didn't have enough time to learn how to sell and learn how to develop a system. But the truth is I couldn't afford not to. So all the things I was doing wrong, dividing my time too many different ways, sacrificing my health and relationships and balance in my life, it just led to depression and wanting to quit. My friend Scott, he and I kind of came up together in the business, we both went to the same school, he actually quit and got a job at Home Depot. And I didn't want to do that. Well, that's when I met Pat. Pat's my wife. And if you know me personally, you'll know that I'm very fortunate in that area. And she kind of helped me see it a different way. I started looking at the business behind some of the great photographers that I admire. And I got kind of lucky in a way because I was teaching, Photoshop seminars, and some of them actually came to my little Photoshop seminars, and I got to really meet them. Clyde I met and learned about marketing from him and his daughter, who was his marketing director. Scott taught me about delegation. Beth taught me all about self-promotion. David showed me about the importance of your personal image. And Joel about the value of advertising. Bruce taught me about how important your reputation is. And Zach taught me about work ethic and getting up every day and just giving it your all. So all these people together that I've had the opportunity to meet, who are all people I really admire, I kind of put all that together. Now, I was so focused on equipment and technique, you could call it talent, but it's really technique because it's a learned skill. I was still losing jobs to less qualified people because I didn't really know what they need. I never learned any of the business stuff I needed, and especially not the sales skills, because I was raised to believe that sales was kind of sleazy. And the truth is, what you think of usually for sales is sleazy. There's no doubt about it. But that guy, Tom, that I talked about a minute ago, he told me, he goes, look, there's a salesman that you think of because there's so many bad ones, but then there's that very small percentage The people who earn a living helping people, those are the ones you want to be like. And I realized that I could get those on my own, one step at a time, one mistake at a time. And I learned that business skills and sales skills are directly related. You can't have one without the other. And I also started to learn that it's not as hard as it seemed. And once I started getting things right, things got better for me very fast. I read lots of books. I went to seminars and classes. I learned that sales isn't sales at all. It's all about asking and listening. It's what I call caring curiosity. So here's a friend of mine. Her name is Alyssa, and she was actually on a webinar recently. She's somebody who has a tremendous amount of talent and was working so hard and just not earning the kind of money that she deserved for her talent. And what turned her around? She got some business coaching. She signed up with a business coach, and in 6 months' time, she tripled her business. And it was just amazing transformation in just 6 short months. And Alyssa's very talented, but she's no better than you are, and she's no better than I am. She's a regular person out there doing her best and just trying to make it. And with that little bit of help that she got, it turned everything around for her. And it was just wonderful to see, because she's such a wonderful, wonderful lady. So there's really 3 secrets to the whole thing. You have to have a system that works, and it's got to be easy enough to where you're guaranteed to not mess it up. Secret number 2 is it has to be something that anybody can use, even if you're naturally shy or naturally disorganized. Because you may not believe this, but I was cripplingly shy when I started off. And over time, I overcame that. I'll tell you later how I overcame it. And then the system has to work the same in any market. It's easy to do something now because the market's really good. It's relatively easy to make money, but it's got to work when things are down too. So you can use the same thing all the time, and it always works. That's important too. That's secret number 3. So a system that always works. First of all, don't be a salesman. Think about it. Henry Ford, not a salesman. He developed a new way for people to get what they need. Apple Computer, that's another example that comes to mind. It wasn't about the sales so much as they developed a new way for people to get what they need. And so here's me at the Ritz-Carlton at Palm Beach. My system was working. The combination of making calls, following up, and asking for referrals resulted in some really big national level clients. And I even got a couple of international assignments too. Nothing changed though. My skills hadn't changed. My equipment sure hadn't changed because I couldn't afford new equipment. One thing changed. I was following a system. I was making calls, I was following up, and I was asking for referrals. That's all that changed. And by doing these things and doing that caring curiosity that I talked about, people told me what they needed. And it was just up to me to fulfill those needs. All of a sudden, everything became very easy. Now, here's a guy here that I know. His name's Ryan. And the cool thing is, it didn't just work for me. It works for all kinds of people. So here's Ryan. He always believed in letting his work speak for itself. But after he took a leap of faith and tried things this way, this is what happened. He started attracting bigger clients and with real budgets. And Ryan started getting paid the kind of money that he's worth. He started earning the kind of money that you can earn a living doing something you love. Nothing changed. It was just his approach. He focused his efforts on networking and making sure his follow-up was very quick and consistent, but he's no better than you. So you're probably thinking, okay, well, yeah, Chuck, those are a few isolated incidents, and that you kind of picked out. Well, they're not. I know dozens of people who are doing it right now. You're probably thinking, well, those people probably had more time than I do, right? Well, they didn't, and they still don't. You only need to spend at most 20% of your working time to get maximum results. You might think these people started off with money too. Well, every example I'm going to give you today started with a negative net worth, debt, hard times, especially me. So put those out of your mind. So I've shown you how to have a consistent, growing business. Pretty awesome, huh? I think so. Let me see if, oh, just checking to make sure there's no messages popping up here. All right. So these techniques are ones you have to be able to use, even if you're naturally shy and naturally disorganized. Because, if you think about it, most creative people are a little bit shy and a little bit disorganized. It's just something that the way we think. And you won't follow a system that's not simple for very long. Or even if you do, it'll just get all messed up because we're disorganized. So all the businesses that you admire were built by people who are no smarter than you are. In fact, most people are a lot less smart than you are, and I can prove it. Just think about it. How many stupid people do you know that are making more money than you? I mean, it's amazing. So why is it? So getting back to my little story, in spite of my successes, I still lacked the confidence. It was holding me back. I was at a certain level. I was earning money. I was earning a living, which is great, but I couldn't get over those false beliefs about myself, and that was holding me back. That nagging feeling, oh, you're not good enough. You're not good enough. As a matter of fact, that's something I still have to keep an eye on to this day. But the reason I'm telling you that is that, if you've got these self-doubts and you've got these things, I'm no better than you because I've got the same things. And, I know you hear this all the time, but, if I can do it, you can do it. It's really true. So let me tell you about a friend of mine. The cool thing is it doesn't just work for me. It works for all kinds of people. So here's my buddy Cliff. He grew up poor. Now you're thinking, poor? Oh yeah, how poor? I'm talking like his childhood home was bulldozed because it was condemned while the family was living there. Like they had to leave the house so it could be bulldozed. That's how poor. And he always knew that he didn't want to stay poor, and he knew that educating himself was going to be the key to success. So he took the leap of faith as a teenager after this incident with the house. And here's what happened. Fast forward to today, he not only runs his own studio in the artsiest part of town here in St. Petersburg, but he also fulfilled his dream of having a daily radio talk show. But he'll be the first to tell you that he's no better than you are. So I know you're still thinking, oh, well, this isn't going to work for me, right? Well, it will. It worked for me. It worked for lots of other people just like you. And you're probably thinking to yourself, oh, well, I'm not any good at following systems, right? Well, these techniques are so simple that it's impossible to mess up. If you're relatively new to the business, you're probably thinking you're not ready for this, right? Well, you have to be ready. Now is the time to start being profitable. Don't waste lots of years like I did. And if you're an established person, maybe you're thinking, oh, I'm kind of beyond this. Well, it took me 20 years to figure this out. So maybe there's some pieces that are going to help you out. But prove it that you have what it takes. Pretty awesome, huh? All right. Now, secret number 3 I always hear the same things, and you might be thinking these too. Well, I live in a city where, photographers just don't make that much money, or the economy's not good enough. We can't really make a lot of money because of the economy, or I don't know any rich people. That's one that I hear a lot. The thing is that these methods that I'm talking with you about, they work the same in any market, any economy, and any person, because they're built on known psychology. Not everybody went broke during the Great Recession. And how is that? Everyone I know that weathered the recession, who wasn't already wealthy, did something interesting. They didn't change their strategy. Now, they might have changed up their offerings a little bit to suit people, but most cases, they didn't change that either. It's all about asking and listening. It goes back to what I was talking about before, that caring curiosity. Don't sell, shut up and listen. Ask lots of questions and people will tell you what they need. Then it's up to you to fulfill those needs. And guess what? Usually people get paid for fulfilling needs. It's just that simple. Now, here's something interesting. I always thought like a poor person, and I assumed that if I couldn't afford something or if I wouldn't buy it, nobody else would either. Well, it turns out I was totally wrong. I wasn't the customer. I used to think, well, I live here in St. Petersburg, Florida, photographers don't make much money here. You have to live in a big city. Well, get this. One of my biggest clients was in New York City. They actually paid to fly me up there to do a job. Now, why in the world would that be? It's because I listened to them. It's because I understood what they needed, and they knew they could count on me to do it. It's not that, believe me, New York City is not lacking in talent. There's plenty of better photographers up there than me, but they knew they could trust me. They knew I listened, and that's what people are really looking for, is somebody who will listen, hear what they have to say, and help them solve their problems. It's just that easy. And, you always hear about, well, these inexpensive photographers that are working for cheap or even free, they're taking away all the business. Well, no, they're not, because the photographers that are cheap can't do what I do for any price. And they won't do it because they won't listen. So if you'll just start employing some of these things, you're going to start making money. Now, the cool thing about it is it doesn't just work for me. It's all kinds of people. So here's Dave. I mean, this isn't the real Dave. He didn't want his picture on here because he's pretty well known. But when he was starting off, was kind of early on for me, we kind of came up together in the business. And he thought having a lot of equipment would set him apart from the competition. But it really didn't work. It was just that he had a lot of equipment, but people weren't respecting him for his equipment at all. So he took a leap of faith and tried focusing on relationships and personalized service. And his business took off. He started getting national accounts, started doing the kind of work he really wanted to do, and start getting the kind of budgets that he always wanted, because he turned away from what he thought people wanted and started listening and developing relationships and having a personalized service with everybody. So you're probably thinking, it's too competitive out there, right? Well, think about this. If you subtract out all the photographers who are lame, how many does that leave? Not many, right? Well, it's not as competitive as you think, because all those people that are lame are not competitors. They are photographers, but they're not competitors to you. So quit worrying about them. You're not in competition with anybody. You're there to help serve somebody's needs. You might be thinking, well, people won't spend the money. Well, one of my most successful colleagues has got every bit of his business from blue-collar people, just working folks just like me and you and anybody else that's out there. It's blue collar people. So don't be thinking that, oh, I only have to work with rich people for me to get rich. That is not true. You can overcome your circumstances. Pretty cool, huh? I think it is. So do you think you could be successful if you had a system that showed you what to do every day? Do you think you'd be successful if you had the confidence in knowing for sure that you were going to make it? Do you think you could be successful if you didn't have to depend on luck or the market conditions for you to be successful? Of course you would. So let me ask you something. What if we went with secret number one and we put together a system where you're making your phone calls, you're following up, you're giving your curious listening and loving and caring about people. You gave all that a try. And then you took what I showed you in secret number two, and you got up every day knowing what to do. And then you used secret number three. You took that caring curiosity and answered people's questions before they even thought of them. Do you think you could be successful? Well, of course you would. I mean, how could you not be successful at that point? That's what I want to know. All right. So how many of you guys looking here on the screen, how many of you guys are excited about what we're talking about? Yeah. All right. And how many are feeling just a little bit overwhelmed by this whole thing because we've talked about so much already? All right, that's what I figured. All right, so is it all right if I spend about 10 minutes going over something I put together for you? And then after that, we'll get to the question and answer session. Oops, hang on here. Yes. All right. So here's what I put together for you. Oops, hang on. Isn't technology great? All right, so I put together a little course. And believe me, I'm going to go through this quick, but I got to warn you, I'm going to sound like a salesman for a minute, but just hang with me. So you're going to get instant access to this class, and it covers all types of photography businesses, whether you're a portrait photographer or a wedding photographer or commercial photographer like I was. We're going to erase what's holding you back and how to help people make the right decisions to buy from you. And finally, we'll wrap it all up with some case studies so that you can learn and be inspired by some other people just like you. And then lastly, it's got all the tools to help you do it. So let me talk to you about Joel Grimes. You've probably heard of him. He's very famous. He's not a student of mine, believe me. But let me tell you about Joel Grimes' business. Did you know that he is actually actively selling every single day? He gets up and he markets himself. That's one of the reasons he's so successful. Now, you put that together with that level of talent, and you've got a superstar. But the main thing, and he'll be the first one to tell you, the main reason why he's so successful is because he gets up every day thinking about selling and getting more clients and getting that next job. Believe me, he is not sitting there just waiting for the phone to ring. And just as a little funny aside, I was talking with a photographer the other day, and I said, yeah, well, how's your business going? And he's like, well, yeah, nobody's been calling me. I'm like, what? Nobody's been calling you. You need to be calling them. So anyway, Clyde Butcher, had the great honor of actually taking his official portrait, which is what you're looking at here. And he's got a whole marketing team. He's built a multi-million-dollar business in photography, focusing on just one small segment of the market. And he's done so well. Of course, he's super talented, but he'll be the first to tell you that he started off just like everybody else. As a matter of fact, one thing most people don't know is that Clyde Butcher actually started off selling clocks. That's how he started off in business. And it's all about the marketing with him. This is my favorite story. This is Laurie Ross. I actually know Laurie from when I worked in Albertsons as a grocery store bagger. And she showed up in one of my classes a while back, and she just wanted to learn how to use her camera. And she took every class she could get her hands on. She took every class I had to offer, plus a whole bunch of other ones. And she's just published her second book. And she's just a wonderful, wonderful photographer and very successful because of it. I'm so proud of her. I'm so proud to have been part of that success. But believe me, again, she'll be the first to tell you that there's nothing special. It's not, I don't mean to diminish her great success, but she doesn't have anything that you don't also have. So it works for everybody. We've talked about Joel, who's super famous, and he's focused on selling every day. We've talked about Clyde Butcher, super famous, and he's got actually other people doing it for him. And then my friend Laurie, who just went from zero to actually publishing books of her photographic work and earning money doing it. Now I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, well, I can't do this. I don't have enough time. Here's why that mistake will hold you back from success. Everyone has the same amount of time in a day. Some people build empires and some people do nothing. I can guarantee that you have more than enough time to be successful. All the people I told you about had enough time. I did. And if I can do it, anybody can do it, I can assure you. So let me tell you about the class. Here's the salesman part. So when you sign up, you're going to get instant access to the class. It's a whole series of lessons. The longest one is 15 minutes, and you can do it at your own pace. This actual master class, it's worth $1,999 in my opinion. Now, don't worry, I'm not going to charge you that, but that's what it's worth if you ask me. And then you're going to get the business tracker system. And it's a tool to help you stay on track and know if you need to make adjustments before it's too late. Because frequently, by the time we know that we don't have enough money, it's too late to correct. So this helps you stay on track on a day-by-day basis, so you know if there's trouble coming while there's still plenty of time to adapt. When you have this, you'll be able to track your progress as you build your business, and you'll be able to stop wondering what you need to do to be successful. When I was first figuring this stuff out, I ran into a big roadblock. I didn't know what to do each day to have a stable business, so I had to create this whole system for myself. Way back then, I must have spent thousands of hours trying to figure out an efficient way to handle this problem. But I don't want you to recreate the wheel. I've already got this proven system that I put together, and I'm just going to give it to you with the package. So it sounds good? Of course it does. It's hard to make things simple, but there's no accounting required, no BS, just step by step by step, exactly how to do it. So you're going to get the photography business masterclass. You're going to get the business tracking system. I mean, just that alone is worth $399. And then this is, I think, for me, the most important part of the puzzle for me. It's the daily action system. So if you take that leap of faith today, you're going to get my daily planning system. So you know what to do each day to be financially successful. I had to go through this financial roller coaster and gut-wrenching frustration to work out a system that works. But you won't have to, because I'm giving it to you. It's just, I'm giving it to you as a bonus. This bonus is going to make it easier and faster for you to have a stable cash flow and be successful at the end of the year. How? Because it shows you what you need to do on a daily basis to get there. It's just one piece of paper, and all you do is put check marks on it. It's just that simple. If you do it, you'll be successful. You can't not be successful. You can keep one piece of paper around and put check marks on it, right? Yes, you can. Okay, so you're going to get the master class. You're going to get the business tracking system. You're going to get my daily action system. I mean, we're already up to over $2,400 worth of value already. But wait, there's more. This is important, the pricing calculator. You're also going to get my break-even pricing calculator, which will show you exactly what you need to charge to meet your goals. So I had to go through years of low profits and constant frustration before I developed this, because what I was doing is I just see what other people were charging and I'd just charge the same. And the problem is you don't know if they're starving to death or not, and usually they are. But you're not going to have to do any of that because I'm going to give you this break-even pricing calculator as a special bonus. It's going to make it possible for you to make smart pricing decisions because you're going to know exactly what you need to earn to meet your goals. And I know creative people hate accounting. There's no accounting stuff. It's just a simple form to fill out. You add it up and you get the answer at the bottom. It's just that easy. Believe me, I am no CPA. And incidentally, I only got audited 1 year in my whole career, and I only did my taxes myself 1 year. They were the same year. Coincidence? I don't think so. Yeah, I'm going to give you the spreadsheets too, because I like pencil and paper myself, but I also made these in Excel spreadsheets, and they work in Apple numbers as well. So if you want to go high tech with it, all the spreadsheets come along with it. So you got the master class, you got the tracking system, you got the action system, the pricing calculator, major value, right? And let's just say that it costs what it's worth, $2,746. If all it did was give you a proven system for success, would it be worth $2,700? If all it did was give you an easy way to stay on track every day, would it be worth it? Yes. If all it did was to show you exactly what to do to get your business up and running in a month, would it be worth it? If all it did was turning people's objections into reasons to say yes when you're trying to sell them something, would it be worth it? Of course it would. But I had two choices. I could either make this thing really cheap and just sell a whole bunch of them, and that would be that. I'd make a little money, or I could put a lot of value in it and charge a little bit more and really have something that's valuable and something that is so valuable that I guarantee it. So if you had a successful system making you money, what would it be worth? How much would you pay to have a successful photography business guaranteed? You can probably see why in the past people have paid me thousands of dollars to sit down with them and help them step by step to put all this together. It's because it's an investment. Now you've already seen how it's worth over $2,000. And even at $4.99, which is what I charge the public, it's a great deal. But you've spent this much time with me. You've sat here and listened to me go on and on. I know you have what it takes. So if you get my class, and I'm almost done with the selling part, it's just $297. Tomorrow it goes back up to $4.99, just like it always has been. So instead of $4.99, it's $297. Now let me put this in perspective. If you go to the regular website right now, it's $4.99. But because you spent a little bit of time with me, I know you're going to be successful. I know you're not going to ask me for a refund. I've emailed you a special link. It's in your email box right now. You can click on that. You can get it for $297. Or if you type in sellingphotography.com right now, it'll go there for you. If you had to hire a professional to do all this for you, it would cost you more than $10,000. But because you're learning how to do it yourself, and I'm giving you everything you need, you only pay $297. Now, you can take all the stuff that you learned in the last hour and do nothing with it, and you're going to get exactly that, nothing. Or you can take a leap of faith, and you can take my word and my over 30 years of earning a living as a photographer, take that leap of faith, start to test it out, see if it works for you. Because it's a no-brainer, there's no risk. If you get the thing and say, yeah, Chuck, this just isn't for me, man. This doesn't suit me. No problem. I don't want to take a dime from anybody who doesn't think that it's well worth it. So the real question is this: is it worth gambling a few minutes of your time to check this out? Even if it only did a tiny fraction of what I said it would do, it would pay for itself in the first job you get. So you get the masterclass, you get the tracking system, you get the action system, you get the pricing calculator. $2,746 worth of value for $297. And if that's not enough, I can see the names of the people that are still online here. And I know some of you. I'll give you a free coaching session. So I want you to get started now. You've got an email in your email box, or you can type in sellingphotographyiseasy.com and it'll work. So now it's time for questions and answers. So you can type in your questions and I will tell you anything you want to know. Oh, yeah, Don mentioned here about Clyde Butcher, about he's colorblind, and yeah, he is actually, and that was one of the reasons why he decided to work in black and white. And I got to tell you, Don, you probably don't know this either, but I've got a friend, and probably the most prolific photographer that I know, and he is legally blind. And I know you're thinking, like, wait a minute, that's crazy. But he described it to me. He goes, okay, it's like, imagine looking through a straw, because that's how I see. So like he can see a little bit, but he's legally blind. And he's the most prolific photographer I know. It's just craziness, isn't it? Oh, Joel Grimes is colorblind. Don, man, I had no idea. That is awesome. Oh my God, man, you learn something every day. I had no idea. Wow. Well, now it just raised my respect for Joel Grimes even higher than it already was. Whew. Okay, so I guess none of us have any excuses, do we? Yeah, I got one person here's asking me if about the shyness thing. I got to tell you, I was so shy, it was crippling. And what got me over it for me was a friend of mine dragged me to Toastmasters. And if you've never heard of Toastmasters, I mean, I owe my career to them. They took me from someone who was so shy, I would never go to social stuff ever because I was scared, to someone that would actually get paid to speak. And it's an organization, they do just that. They teach you how to speak, and that's pretty much what they do. It's an organization. They've got chapters, and I guarantee there's one in your city. So if you want any information on that, just pop me an email. I'll tell you anything you want to know. Let's see here. Let's see, you've been living in Tampa. Oh, man, good question. Yeah, so Jared is saying that, it's not earning as much money as he'd like to. And, how do you get out there and talk to people without selling yourself? Well, of course, you'll learn all that in detail in the class, but here it is in a nutshell, is that you don't have to sell yourself at all. All you have to do is make friends and see if you can help them. Now, I know what you're thinking, it's crazy, right? But hear me out. So everybody knows I'm a photographer, and everybody knows what photographers do. So I don't really have to sell them on that. And even if I tell them I'm the best photographer in the whole wide world, well, guess what? So is everybody else, according to themselves. So all I have to do is be the one that they like and the one that they think of. Because here's the other problem. Statistically speaking, everybody knows at least 3 photographers. So it's not an issue of like, oh my God, you're a photographer. That's awesome. I need a photographer. They're going to go with the one that they trust the most and the one that they thought of first. So all you have to do is be on their radar screen and be someone who is trustworthy. And that's all you have to do. That's the shocking part about it. Now, of course, I've got a lot of techniques for how to stay on somebody's radar screen, but that's kind of that part of the course in a nutshell, is to stay on someone's radar screen so you're not, one of the other photographers they know doesn't get picked because, that's who they thought of first. And that's how. Yeah, Jared, you typed an interesting comment on here, and it brings up a good thing, and I'd welcome your comment on this too. When like when I was coming up, I came up from a really blue collar family, and like we were taught that like salespeople were scum. Like that is the last thing you ever want to be. So as a result of just kind of being brainwashed that way, I was afraid to even toot my own horn at all. And it really crippled me a lot. And so I overcame that to where I had enough self-confidence to be able to tell people how great I am. But it wasn't until much later that I discovered that you don't even have to do that. All you have to do is be someone that they know is going to show up. And like going back to that New York client that I had, here I am down in little old St. Petersburg, Florida, and a client based in New York is flying me all over the country to do their work. And I asked them straight up, all right, why'd you pick me? Like, well, we know you'll come through. And that was it. They knew I'd show up on time, I'd get the job done, and I'd be pleasant while I'm doing it. That was it. They didn't even say anything about the quality of the work, because that's kind of expected. The fact you can get the job done is expected. That's just your ticket in the door. And it all came down to the fact that they knew they could trust me and they knew I'd be nice. It sounds crazy to hear it, I know, but, and I've talked to so many different clients over the years because I always want to know, okay, what am I doing right? What can I improve on, and so forth. And invariably, it was always boiling down to something like that, okay, we trust you and we know you'll be nice to us, and who knew? If I had known what I know now, back 30 years back when I started off, I'd be a multi-millionaire right now. I'm still working on my first million right now, but I'm well on my way and I'm going to get there. But I got to tell you, it's, you go out, you make friends. Let's see. Yeah, you can ask me anything. Type it in there, man. I'll do whatever. So while this one person is typing in there, they want to ask me a favor, which I've agreed to do, not knowing what it is, but we'll count on it not being too bad. Oh, can I look at your work? Of course. You've got my email address because I sent you an email. Just pop me an email, link to your website, or if it's stuff you want to show me in particular, just let me know. I'll help you out. Because, that's the thing, about this course here is that, like, well, yeah, of course I want to earn money, obviously. But, I really want to help you because nobody taught me any of this stuff. And I wish I'd known, because like I said, if I had known back then what I know now, I'd be rich, or I'd be richer, I should say. I've got no reason to say I'm not rich. It's, I've done very well. I live in a great house. I've got a great wife. I drive a nice car. You can tell by looking at me, I get plenty of food. And, You know, life is good. So yes, absolutely. And this goes for everybody that's listening. If you've got some questions or if you want me to look at your work and give you an opinion, yeah, just let me know. I want to help. I really do. Obviously, I want you to buy my course. Yeah, of course. But $297, that's not a lot of money. That's not going to make or break me. But I do want to help you. The email that's listed is a no reply email. Okay. I'll tell you all my email address, my guaranteed to work email address. It's chuck@chuckvosburgh.com. And I can't believe it. Now, there was an email that came to you from me like during this webinar. I kind of scheduled it to go out that should have my email address on it, but it's chuck@chuckvosburgh.com. And I'm going to stop sharing my screen for a second here. Or actually, you know what I'll do? Hang on here for just a second. I'm going to type it on here. All right, stop sharing. All right, hang tight for just a second, you guys. I'm looking at the other screen here. I'm going to type it in here. Yeah, I'm sorry. I should have maybe thought of that. All right, we're almost there. All right, I'll go back to sharing my screen if I can find it. Okay, there it is right there. You should be able to see it now. Yep. All right, so yeah, chuck@chuckvosburgh.com. Just email me. I'm happy to help you. And I'm going to pop you another email a little later just to remind you to sign up for the course. And I hope you do, because I know you'll get a lot out of it. That's guaranteed. I can't believe we're almost out of time. Anybody have any other questions before we wrap it up? All right. Well, seeing none, thank you so much for paying attention for this long. I know there's still a lot of you online. That's really great. Thank you so much. I hope you got a lot out of this. And if you sign up for the course, I'm looking forward to giving you your free consultation question. Oops, hang on here. It's another thing. Oh, am I still teaching Photoshop? Yes. And yeah, I am still teaching Photoshop. And are you here in the Tampa Bay area? Let me turn off my sharing here. If you're in the Tampa Bay area, you are. Okay, I'll tell you what, pop me an email and I'll send you some info on that. I teach down at the Morian Art Center, downtown St. Pete. And we've got a class coming up pretty soon. So yeah, hopefully you'll be able to join that. And if not, I can hook you up with some private training too. So good. All right, well, thanks again, everybody. It was so nice. I really enjoyed this. I hope you got something out of it, and I hope to see you soon. Bye-bye.